Jake Martinez walked slowly toward the big crystal building. His hands shook a little, but he kept them behind his back so nobody could see. The building was huge and made of some kind of glowing crystal that hurt to look at directly. Inside, voices spoke in languages he did not understand. Lisa Carter stood next to him. She had been Earth's voice for 3 long years. She had talked and talked, trying to make the aliens understand that humans were good, that they could be part of the galaxy's big family. But today, something felt different. Something felt wrong. The doors opened without making any sound. Jake and Lisa walked inside with Dr. Alex Turner. Alex carried a bag full of papers and computer tablets. He had brought all of Earth's best discoveries to share. Medicine that could save lives. Technology that could help everyone. He thought this would make the aliens happy. The room was so big that Jake could not see the far wall. Floating platforms held different alien beings. Some looked like giant insects. Others were made of light that moved like water. One group had tentacles that moved like snakes. They all stared down at the 3 humans. A voice spoke from everywhere at once. It sounded like rocks grinding together. Jake looked up and saw a tall crystal creature on the highest platform. This was the Zaltharian Prime Speaker. It ruled the whole Galactic Council. "We have made our decision about the humans," the crystal being said. The words echoed in the huge room. "We have watched your species for 50 years. We have seen what you do." Lisa stepped forward. Her voice was calm, but Jake could hear the fear in it. "We have followed all your rules. We have stayed in our part of space. We have not started any wars with other species." A creature with many tentacles moved on its platform. The tentacles twisted in ugly shapes. "You expand too fast. You ask too many questions. You want to know things that are not for young species to know." Alex opened his bag and pulled out a tablet. "Look at what we have made. Medicine that can cure diseases. Technology that can help planets grow food. We want to share these things with everyone." But the aliens did not care. A being made of pure light spoke next. Its voice was cold like ice. "Your species fights too much. You have wars on your own planet. You cannot control your anger. You are dangerous." Jake felt his heart beating fast. This was not going the way they had hoped. "We are trying to be better. We are learning. All young species make mistakes." The crystal being's voice got louder. "You are too aggressive. You think you are better than species that have lived for thousands of years. You do not respect the old ways." Lisa tried one more time. "Please give us a chance. We can prove that we are good. We can show you that humans can be peaceful." The room became very quiet. All the alien beings looked at each other. Some made sounds that might have been talking. Others flashed lights. Finally, the crystal being spoke again. "The Galactic Council has decided. The human species is too dangerous for civilized space. You threaten the peace we have kept for many thousands of years." Jake felt like someone had hit him in the stomach. "What does that mean?" "It means you are banished," the light being said. "You may keep your home system, but you cannot come to any other systems. You cannot trade with other species. You cannot explore beyond the void barrier." Alex dropped his tablet. It made a loud crash on the floor. The void barrier? But that is the edge of the galaxy. Nothing lives out there. It is empty space. The tentacle creature made a sound like laughing. "Then it is perfect for you. If you can survive in the empty void, you may have it. But you will never again be welcome in civilized space." The crystal being raised one of its arms. "This meeting is over. You have 1 year to remove all human ships from civilized space. After that, any human ship found beyond the void barrier will be destroyed." The doors opened again. Guards that looked like walking rocks came in. They did not touch the humans, but they made it clear that it was time to leave. Jake walked out first. His legs felt weak. Lisa came next, and she was crying. Alex came last, picking up his broken tablet. All their dreams were broken too. Outside the crystal building, they stood in the alien city. Strange vehicles flew overhead. Beings from 100 different worlds walked on the streets. None of them looked at the three humans. They were already invisible. What do we do now? Lisa asked. Jake looked up at the sky. Somewhere out there, beyond the stars, was the void. Empty space that no one wanted. Space that was supposed to be their prison. We go home, he said. We tell Earth what happened, and then we figure out how to survive in the void. Alex picked up the pieces of his tablet. Maybe they are right. Maybe we are too dangerous. No, Jake said. His voice was stronger now. Maybe we are dangerous. But maybe that is what it takes to live in the void. Maybe they just gave us exactly what we need. They walked toward their small ship. Behind them, the crystal building glowed in the alien sun. The council thought they had solved their human problem. They thought they had put the dangerous species where it could not hurt anyone, but they had never been to the void. They did not know what lived in the empty space between the stars. They did not know that sometimes the most dangerous place to put humans is exactly where they can be free. To become something more. Jake started the ship's engines. Let's go home, he said. We have a lot of work to do. 5 years had passed since the council threw them out. Captain Susan Walsh stood on the bridge of the New Horizon and looked out at the stars. But these were not the same stars that Earth could see. These were the stars of the void, the empty. Space beyond the galaxy's edge. The New Horizon was not just one ship. It was a whole city flying through space. Behind it, 50 more ships followed. Some were built to mine asteroids. Others were built to carry families. A few were built to explore new worlds. All of them were full of humans who had chosen to leave everything behind. Susan pressed a button on her chair. Danny, how are the engines doing? Danny Kim's voice came through the speakers. He was deep in the ship's belly, working with machines that no human had ever seen before. The alien power cores are working great, Captain. We can go faster and farther than any council ship. Susan smiled. The aliens had thrown them out, but they had also left behind some of their technology. Humans were very good at taking things apart and putting them back together in new ways. Danny had spent 2 years learning how alien engines worked. Now he could make them work even better. Maria, what do you see out there? Susan asked. Dr. Maria Rodriguez was the ship's scientist. She spent her days looking through big telescopes, trying to understand what lived in the void. Captain, you need to see this. The void is not empty like the council said. It is full of life. Susan walked to Maria's station. On the screen, she could see things that looked like jellyfish floating in space, but these jellyfish were as big as cities. They glowed with their own light and moved between the stars like they were swimming in water. They eat starlight, Maria explained, and cosmic radiation, and something else we cannot understand yet. They have been living out here for millions of years. Another voice came through the speakers. Captain, this is Tony Garcia on the Iron Will. You need to hear this. Tony was the captain of their biggest mining ship. He had been exploring asteroids in the void, looking for metals and other useful things. What did you find, Tony? It's not just metals out here. These asteroids have materials that do not exist anywhere else. Elements that were created in the void itself. The space between stars is not empty, Captain. It is a factory making new kinds of matter. Susan felt excited. The council had sent them to the void to die. But instead, they had found a treasure box. Can you mine it? We are already mining it. The new materials are stronger than anything we had on Earth. And there is something else. The void seems to be making more of it all the time, like it wants us to find it. Susan walked back to her chair. Around her, the bridge crew worked at their stations. These people had left Earth to follow her into the unknown. They had families on this ship, children who would grow up in the void. She had to keep them safe. "Captain," said Lieutenant Karen. "Murphy, we are getting signals from the other ships. They have found something too." On the main screen, pictures appeared from the other ships in their fleet. One ship had found a planet floating alone in the void. It had no star, but it was warm inside. Another ship had found a cloud of gas that seemed to be alive. It moved and changed shape like it was thinking. "The void is not empty," Susan said to her crew. "It is full of wonders that the Council never imagined. They thought they were punishing us, but they gave us a whole new universe to explore." Over the next few months, the human ships spread out across the void. They built stations on floating rocks. They studied the strange creatures that lived in the dark space between stars. They learned to harvest energy from the void itself. Dr. Rodriguez made the biggest discovery. She found that the void was not just full of life. It was full of intelligence. The creatures that lived there could think and communicate. They had been alone for so long that they had forgotten how to talk to other beings. They are trying to. "Say hello," Maria told Susan. "They have been watching us since we arrived. They want to know why we are here." Susan thought about that. Why were they here? The Council had sent them here to get rid of them. But maybe there was another reason. Maybe the void needed them as much as they needed the void. "Tell them we are here because we have nowhere else to go," Susan said. "Tell them we are looking for a new home." The answer came back quickly. The void creatures had been waiting for someone to come. They had been alone for so long that they had almost forgotten what it was like to have company. They wanted to help. The humans learned to live in the void. As the years passed, more human ships arrived from Earth. Some came because they were curious about the void. Others came because they did not like living under the Council's rules. All of them found something in the void that they could not find anywhere else. Freedom, not the void, did not care if humans were aggressive or asked too many questions. The void did not care if they expanded too fast or challenged old traditions. The void was big enough for all of them, big enough for humans to become whatever they wanted to become. Susan stood on the bridge and watched her fleet spread out across the darkness. Children who had been born in the void played in the corridors. Scientists discovered new wonders every day. Engineers built machines that could do impossible things. The Council had thrown them out of civilized space. But they had given humans something much better. They had given them the chance to become something new, something that could survive in the void and make it their home. "Captain," Danny called from the engine room, "I have been thinking about the alien technology. I think I can make it work even better." "How?" Susan asked. "By combining it with the void materials, the stuff that Tony is mining. I think we can make engines that can go anywhere in the universe. Faster than light. Faster than anything the Council has ever seen." Susan smiled. "Do it." The humans were no longer the same species that had been thrown out 5 years ago. They were becoming something new, something that could live in the void and make it their own. The Council had wanted to get rid of them, but they had created something much more dangerous than they had ever imagined. They had created humans who were no longer afraid of the dark. Amy Chun had never seen a real star up close. She was born 20 years ago on a space station called Frontier's Edge, floating in the deep void between galaxies. Her eyes were different from her parents' eyes. They could see things that normal humans could not see, light that was invisible, energy that flowed through empty space like rivers. Her father, Peter Chun, was the station commander. He watched Amy work at her station and felt proud and worried at the same time. Amy was part of the first generation of humans born in the void. She was different from humans who had come from Earth. "Amy, can you see the energy flows today?" Peter asked. Amy looked up from her work. Her eyes were bigger than normal human eyes, and they glowed softly in the dark. "Yes, Father. The void streams are very active today. Something big is moving out there." Peter nodded. Amy could see and feel things that he could not. She could navigate through the void by following patterns of cosmic radiation. She could sense when void creatures were nearby. The other young people born in the void could do the same things. Lieutenant Karen Murphy called from her station. "Commander, we have ships approaching. 3 big ones. They look like council ships." Peter walked to the main screen. 3 dark shapes moved slowly through the void. They were Vortex ships, the same alien species that had helped throw humans out of civilized space. "What are they doing here?" "They are watching us," Amy said. "They have been watching us for months. They are afraid." Dr. Scott Williams looked up from his research station. Scott had been studying the void for 15 years. He had learned things that would shock the council. Let them watch. They are about to see what 20 years in the void can do to humans. On the other side of the station, a young girl named Jamie Foster was working on something that no one else understood. Jamie was only 16 years old, but she had been born in the deepest part of the void. She could do things that even the other void-born humans could not do. "Dr. Williams," Jamie called. "I think I found something important." Scott walked over to Jamie's station. She was looking at patterns of energy that flowed through the void. To most people, it looked like random noise. But Jamie could see meaning in it. "It's not just energy," Jamie said. "It's information. The void is trying to talk to us." Scott stared at the screen. "What do you mean?" "The void is alive," Jamie said. "Not like the creatures that live in it. The void itself is alive. It has been trying to communicate with us. Since we arrived, I think I can understand what it is saying." Peter came over to see what they were looking at. "What does it say?" Jamie worked with the patterns for a few minutes. Slowly, words began to appear on the screen. The letters were strange, but they could be read. "Welcome, children of the between space. We have been waiting." Everyone on the station stopped what they were doing. The void itself was talking to them. The empty space that the council had thrown them into was not empty at all. It was intelligent. "How long have you been waiting?" Jamie typed into the computer. The answer came back quickly. "Since the first galaxy was born. We have watched civilizations rise and fall. We have seen species come and go. But none of them could live in the void like you can." Amy came over to read the message. "Why us? Why can humans live in the void?" "Because you are not afraid to change. Other species cling to what they were. You become what you need to become. The void changes those who live in it. You let it change you." Peter felt a chill run down his back. The void intelligence was right. Humans who lived in the void were different now. They could see things that normal humans could not see. They could survive in places that would kill other species. They were becoming something new. "What do you want from us?" Scott asked. "Companionship. We have been alone for so long. We had forgotten what it was like to have others to talk to. Your species brought life to the void. Now we want to help you grow." Over the next few days, the void intelligence taught the humans things that no other species knew. It showed them how to travel between dimensions. It taught them how to harvest energy from the fabric of space itself. It revealed secrets that had been hidden since the universe began. The council ships that had been watching grew more worried. They could see the human station doing impossible things. They could see human ships appearing and disappearing like ghosts. They could see that humans were becoming something that no species had ever been before. "Commander," Corinne called. "The council ships are sending a message." Peter pressed a button to hear the message. The voice that came through the speakers was scared. "Human station, this is Captain Vorthik Prime. We need to talk. Something is happening in council space. Something dangerous. We need your help." Peter looked at his daughter. Amy's strange eyes were glowing brighter now. "What do you see, Amy?" "They are telling the truth," Amy said. "Something is coming from beyond the void. Something that eats stars and destroys planets. The council cannot stop it. The void intelligence sent another message. The devourers have awakened. They come from the spaces between universes. They consume everything they touch. Only those who understand the void can fight them." Peter realized what was happening. The council had thrown humans into the void to get rid of them. But the void had been preparing humans for something much bigger. It had been changing them, teaching them, making them ready for a war that was coming. "Tell the council ships they can dock with our station," Peter said. "But they come as visitors, not as rulers," Amy smiled. "Father, we are not the same humans that were thrown out 20 years ago." "No," Peter agreed. "We are something new, something that can survive in the void and protect the galaxy from what lives beyond it." The void intelligence sent one more message. "The real war is just beginning, but you are ready now. You have become the guardians of the between space. You have become the protectors of all life." Peter looked around the station. Human children who could see in dimensions that normal humans could not imagine. Adults who could travel through space by thinking about it. Scientists who understood the secrets of the universe. The council had wanted to get rid of dangerous humans. Instead, they had created something that could save the galaxy. They had created the Voidborn, and the Voidborn were ready for whatever came next. The Galactic Council's emergency meeting was chaos. Alien beings from across the galaxy shouted in fear. Their voices filled the great crystal chamber with panic. Reports came in from everywhere. Human ships were appearing in places they should not be. Human technology was doing things that should be impossible. The Zeltharian Prime Speaker's crystal body flickered with worry. "How are they doing this? Our sensors cannot track them. They appear and disappear like ghosts." A Vorthik delegate waved its tentacles in distress. "They came to our home system yesterday. 3 ships appeared inside our orbital defenses. They did not attack. They just scanned everything and left. Our weapons could not touch them." The ethereal council member, a being of pure energy, pulsed with anxiety. "This is impossible. No species can develop such technology in just 20 years. It took us thousands of years to build our ships." Suddenly, the air in the chamber began to shimmer. The temperature dropped. The lights flickered. All the alien beings stopped talking and stared at the center of the room. A hole opened in the air itself. It was perfectly round and filled with swirling darkness. Through it, they could see stars that were not in their galaxy. They could see the void between worlds. Admiral Frank Parker stepped through the hole. He was tall and wore a simple uniform that seemed to be made of starlight. Behind him came 3 other humans. They walked calmly into the chamber like they owned it. "Hello, Council," Frank said. His voice was quiet, but everyone could hear it perfectly. "We thought it was time we had a talk." The Zeltharian Prime Speakers. Form flashed with anger and fear. "How did you get here? How did you bypass our defenses?" Frank smiled. "We learned to travel through the void. Space and time work differently there. We can step from one place to another without crossing the distance between them." Dr. Ashley Davis, one of the humans with Frank, opened a small device. It projected a hologram into the air above the council. The hologram showed the void, but it was not empty. It was full of cities made of light. It was full of creatures that danced between dimensions. It was full of humans who had become something incredible. "This is what we found in the void," Ashley said. "This is what you threw us into. You thought you were sending us to die in empty space, but the void is not empty. It is the birthplace of the universe." The council members stared at the hologram. They saw human children playing with creatures made of pure energy. They saw human scientists working with materials that should not exist. They saw human ships that could travel faster than light, faster than thought. "Impossible," whispered the ethereal being. "Nothing can survive in the void." "You are wrong," Frank said. "Everything can survive in the void if it is willing to change. The void does not destroy. It creates, it evolves, it makes things better." Another human, Dr. Kevin Walsh, stepped forward. "The void is alive. It has been waiting for billions of years for someone to come and keep it company. You could have been that someone, but you were too afraid to try." The Vorthic delegate's tentacles curled with confusion. "What do you want from us? Why are you here?" Frank's expression became serious. "We are here because something is coming. Something that will destroy everything you have built. The Devourers are awakening. They come from the spaces between universes. They eat stars and planets and entire galaxies." The chamber became very quiet. Many of the council members had heard whispers of the Devourers. Ancient legends spoke of beings that consumed everything they touched, but most thought they were just stories. "The Devourers are real," Ashley said. "They have been sleeping for millions of years, but now they are waking up, and when they arrive, they will destroy everything in this galaxy." The Zeltharian Prime. Speaker's form flickered faster. "How do you know this?" "Because we have met them before," Frank said. "In the void, we encountered their scouts. We fought them. We learned their weaknesses. We are the only ones who can stop them." The ethereal being pulsed with disbelief. "Why would you help us? We cast you out. We called you dangerous." Frank looked around the chamber at all the alien beings who had once judged humanity. "Because, despite what you did to us, we are still human. We still believe in protecting innocent life. We still believe in doing what is right." Another human, Commander Lisa Parker, activated a device on her wrist. The hologram changed to show dark shapes, moving through space. They were enormous, bigger than planets. They left nothing behind them but emptiness. "The Devourers will be here in 5 years," Lisa said. "Your current technology cannot stop them. Your ships cannot even hurt them. But we can teach you how to fight them." The council members looked at each other. They had spent 20 years thinking that humans were dangerous. Now they were being told that humans were the only ones who could save them. "What do you want in return?" asked the Vorthic. Delegate Frank smiled again. "We want you to understand that the universe is bigger than your little galaxy. We want you to stop being afraid of change. We want you to learn that being different is not the same as being dangerous." Ashley showed another hologram. This one showed humans and aliens working together. It showed council ships that had been rebuilt with void technology. It showed a future where everyone could travel between stars as easily as walking from one room to another. "We can teach you to live in the void," Ashley said. "We can show you wonders that you never imagined. We can help you become more than you ever thought possible." The Zeltharian Prime Speaker was quiet for a long time. Finally, it spoke. "If we agree to this, what happens to the Council? What happens to our authority?" Frank looked at the crystal being with sympathy. "The Council can still exist, but it will be different. It will be a partnership instead of a rulership. We will all work together to protect the galaxy." The ethereal being flickered with uncertainty. "How do we know you will not try to conquer?" "You? Because we already could have," Frank said simply. "If we wanted to conquer you, we would have done it already. We are here to offer you a choice. Join us in preparing for the Devourers, or face them alone. The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then, slowly, the Zeltharian Prime Speaker began to glow brighter. We accept your offer, it said. Teach us how to survive what is coming. Frank nodded. The age of your small, safe galaxy is over. The universe is vast and full of wonders and terrors you cannot imagine. But together, we can face anything. As the meeting ended, human ships began appearing throughout the galaxy. They came not as conquerors, but as teachers. The species that had been cast out for being too dangerous had returned to save the ones who had cast them out. The void had made them strong. Now it was time to make everyone else strong too. 50 years had passed since the Council threw humanity into the void. Now, Ambassador Rachel Turner stood in the same crystal chamber where her grandfather had been banished. But everything was different now. The chamber was full of aliens begging for help. Rachel was the granddaughter of Dr. Alex Turner, the scientist who had tried to share human knowledge with the Council so long ago. But where her grandfather had been desperate to please the aliens, Rachel was calm and confident. She had been born in the void. She had grown up among the stars. Please, begged the Vorthic delegate. The Devourers have consumed 3 of our colonies. Our weapons cannot stop them. Our ships cannot even slow them down. The Zeltharian Prime Speaker's crystal form was cracked and dim. The Reality Eaters have infected our home system. They are turning our crystal cities into nothing. We offer you all our technology if you will help us. Rachel looked at the desperate aliens with sympathy, but not surprise. This was what the Void Intelligence had told them would happen. The Devourers were not just destroyers. They were a test, a way for the universe to see which species were strong enough to survive. You cast us out 50 years ago, Rachel said. Her voice was gentle but firm. You said we were too dangerous, too aggressive, too unpredictable. But when the real danger came, where did you turn? Admiral Ben Martinez stood beside her. He was the son of Jake Martinez, the captain who had first been thrown out of the Council. But Ben was something his father could never have imagined. He commanded ships that existed in multiple dimensions at once. His crews included humans who could manipulate dark matter with their thoughts. We have been watching the Devourers for 20 years, Ben said. We know how they think. We know how they move. We know how to fight them. The ethereal council member flickered weakly. Will you help us, even after what we did to you? Rachel smiled. It was a kind smile, but it also held triumph. We never stopped being human. Despite everything you did to us, we still care about protecting innocent life. Yes, we will help you. Dr. Kevin Walsh, the nephew of Captain Susan Walsh, stepped forward. Kevin was now the head of Void Sciences. He had spent his whole life studying the mysteries of the space between stars. But this time, we do it as equals. No more council ruling over everyone. No more old species telling young species what they can and cannot do. The aliens looked at each other. They had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. But now they needed the help of the species they had thrown away. What do you need us to do? Asked the Vorthic delegate. Rachel activated a holographic display. It showed the entire galaxy, with human ships positioned throughout. We need you to trust us. We need you to let us teach you. And we need you to understand that the universe is much bigger than you ever imagined. The hologram zoomed in to show a battle happening near the edge of the galaxy. Enormous dark shapes were moving through space, consuming everything in their path, but human ships were fighting them. The human ships moved like dancers, appearing and disappearing, striking and retreating. The Devourers are not just destroyers, Kevin explained. They are part of a natural process. The universe creates things, and the Devourers clean up what is not strong enough to survive. They have been doing this for billions of years. The Zeltharian Prime Speaker's form flickered with confusion. Then why do you fight them? Because we are strong enough to survive, Rachel said. And because we believe that others can become strong enough too. The universe does not have to be cleaned up. It can be protected. Another human, Dr. Emma Foster, joined the group. Emma was the daughter of Jamie Foster, the young girl who had first learned to communicate with the Void. Emma had abilities that even the other Void-born humans found amazing. She could see across dimensions and speak with the Void intelligence directly. The Void has been teaching us for 50 years, Emma said. It has been preparing us for this moment. The Devourers are not evil. They are just doing what they were made to do. But they can be reasoned with, the ethereal being pulsed with hope. You can talk to them? We can do more than talk to them, Emma said. We can show them that life in this galaxy is worth preserving. We can prove that consciousness and intelligence are more valuable than the raw materials the Devourers consume. Ben activated his communicator. All ships begin Phase 2. Throughout the galaxy, human ships began to change. They grew larger and more complex. They began to glow with the same light that filled the Void. They became something that was part machine, part living creature, part pure energy. This is what we learned in the Void, Rachel said. How to become more than we were. How to grow and change and adapt to anything the universe throws at us. The hologram showed the human ships approaching the Devourers. But instead of attacking, they began to communicate. Patterns of light flowed between them. The Devourers slowed down, then stopped. They are listening, Emma said. They are trying to understand. Over the next few hours, the humans negotiated with the Devourers. They showed them the beauty of the galaxy. They showed them the potential of the species that lived there. They showed them that destruction was not the only option. Finally, the Devourers began to withdraw. They pulled back to the edge of the universe, not defeated, but convinced. They had seen something in the galaxy that was worth preserving. How did you do that? Asked the Vorthic delegate. By becoming something new, Rachel said. By not being afraid to change. By learning to live in the Void and make it our home. The Zeltharian Prime Speaker's form began to brighten. Can you teach us? Can you help us become like you? Rachel nodded. We can try, but it will not be easy. You will have to give up your old ideas about what is possible. You will have to learn to live in the Void. You will have to become something new. Over the following years, human teachers spread throughout the galaxy. They taught alien species how to travel through the Void. They showed them how to harvest energy from the fabric of space itself. They helped them understand that the universe was not a dangerous place to be feared, but a wonderful place to be explored. Some species adapted quickly. Others struggled. But all of them began to change. The galaxy became a place of wonder and discovery instead of fear and isolation. Rachel stood in the crystal chamber one last time. It was different now. The walls were not just crystal, but void glass that showed the spaces between dimensions. The council members were not just the old species, but representatives from the Void itself. The council wanted to protect the galaxy from dangerous humans, she said. But they ended up creating the humans who could save the galaxy from real danger. Ben smiled. The Void made us strong. Now we make everyone else strong too. The final irony was not lost on anyone. The species that had been cast out for being too dangerous had become the guardians of the galaxy. The Void that was supposed to be their prison had become their greatest gift. Humanity had indeed taken the Void for themselves. But in doing so, they had also taken responsibility for protecting everyone else. They had become the shepherds of the cosmos, the guardians of the infinite. The Council had made the greatest mistake in galactic history. But that mistake had become the galaxy's greatest salvation. The dangerous humans had become the saviors of them all.